Hello viewers, welcome to another Jam GT video. So we are here in the Group 4 cars around Maggiore. Really like this class. The Jaguar was actually new to me, it's the first time using it. So into the second corner if you like. A little slight contact with the chap in the Peugeot Hawk. Nothing malicious there, just a slight little bit of contact. Just one of them things. However, I did apologise for that after. However, moving on. Coming up into the long right-hander, there was a severe bit of contact between the Mercedes and the Porsche. And you'll just see the aftermath of that just there. And we will cut back to that in just a moment. So we'll go actually on board with Hawk in the Peugeot, who captures a proper good look at this incident. This is not the sort of thing you want to be seeing in Gran Turismo. So the Mercedes is just not spatially aware of where the Porsche is, just turns in. Porsche doing nothing wrong, he's in his racing line, the Mercedes is just turned in and not being spatially aware of where your fellow opponents are. So as we come through into the chicane section, we'll go back on board with himself, and the Mercedes has obviously picked up that penalty. I'm going to overtake him very shortly just as we come up to the crest section over the top of the brow of the hill, and then just before the banked corner you'll see me go around him on the inside. He does let me go, thankfully, no incidents there. So I think the incident we had with the Porsche was just a one-off incident. I do park the car on the apex. I do hold the Mercedes driver up a little bit because I did feel that Hawk needed to pass him, because I could feel a good race between myself and Hawk in the RCZ becoming apparent straight away. As soon as we set off, I felt he was quite evenly matched. So coming just to the end of lap 1, I've gained already up to P3 from P5. I'm having a very good close battle with Hawk. We're both being respectful of one another. He's allowing me the room, I've allowed him the room. I've tried to get him in the mix. And then we also have the chap in the Beetle coming through to join into this little battle. So rounding out lap 1, I've held the position. I do just at the end of the start of lap 2, sorry, I lose out to the Beetle. I'm not too fussed, I know I can gain him back. Okay, so this is the start of lap 2. So carrying on into lap 2. Unfortunately, I just kept getting the exits wrong, whether it was getting used to the Jag. It's a little bit oversteery on some of the exits on the corners. However, all in all, it's a great car. I think I'm actually going to start using this car a lot more. I wish I'd actually purchased it earlier, but that's just the way it goes. Daily workout car. Thank you very much, Gran Turismo. It's generally usually get rubbish, but I've got one good car finally. So by this point the Beetle has started to pull away a little bit. I'm not too concerned at this point. I know I can reel him back in. I'm just concerned about really defending from Hawk again in the Peugeot RZZ. He's putting in a really good effort so far. I'm just having to go defend on the racing line. You can see here I get on the banked corner. I'm taking my preferred racing line, which is using all of that curve, which you're more than entitled to do. Again, you can see he is sticking close by me, but again on the straights I'm able to pull quite a good gap away from him. Coming down now into the final couple of corners. This is a section that I do struggle with, not quite getting the gearing right, just taking too much on the curbstones. If you do that too much in the Jag, it will make you pay for doing it. It will step the rear of the car out. And in lap 3 we do see that quite evidently where I do get it wrong. So we'll get to that in just a minute when we start on to the lap 3. So again, we're still in a nice P3. I'd be happy with that either way. I've made up, from P5 to P3. So we carry on into the start of into lap 3. Sorry. So lap 3, and we are beginning to close that gap up on the Beetle, and a lot better exits through turn 1 and 2 and probably 3 than the guy in the Beetle. I think he was personally struggling a little bit with the exits. The Beetle is extremely fast around Maggiore, and I've seen that car regularly used throughout this week, and I can definitely see why. It's a very good contender. You see here I do start to close the gap, especially along the long right hander. I actually had to brake harder and longer than I normally would like to stop myself going into the back of him. I do miss my preferred line here, which is where things do start to go a little bit awry here on lap 3. As you'll see very shortly, as I mentioned earlier, I just wasn't getting the exits of the corners right. And as we flip through here, you will see I've got it completely wrong. I've ended up hitting into the wall. Luckily I didn't pick up a penalty there. I don't know how Hawk didn't go by me. I personally would have sent it down the outside and gone past me. I think he's just been quite respectful. On board there you see the incident. He does go to send it down. I think he just gets on the brakes a little bit too early. Whether he's a bit nervous that I'm going to come skidding across the track. Again, very respectful racing, which is something we've not always seen. So thanks to him for that. But I held the position somehow. I didn't deserve to. That was very bad racing. I should know better than that. So we round out lap 3, still in the same position in P3. We'll finish the lap still on board with Hawk to carry on ready for lap 4. Into the final lap now, lap 4. So as we come down into the long right hander again, I really have closed that gap up quite dramatically on the Beetle, and once again you'll see the difference in braking. I had to brake twice once again to avoid contact with him. Not the Beetle driver's fault, he was perfectly within his rights, he was on his racing line. I did think about going up the inside of him, but there wasn't the space, so I backed off, which once again is all about being a respectful racing driver. Through the chicane section, I'm much faster than the Beetle, and that just shows here as we come on to the crest section just before the banked hill. So I'm well within the slipstream range, the magical 8/10, which is the magic slipstream range on Gran Turismo Sport. So as you'll see, I faked to go on around the outside. It really does draw him in very nicely, and then basically do the undercut manoeuvre, and we go through on the inside of him. I get a very good exit through there, fortunately. I know the Jag's done that constantly. I know that line very well. I do have to say, actually, give some thank you to taking some tips from the likes of Super GT and the Key. I've watched a lot of their videos. They've done a lot of races around this track, obviously, and I've seen the way that they take and attack that corner. So I do have to give them some thanks for giving me some pointers and tips. So obviously very pleased to pick up that position, just through being able to race cleanly and fairly. On the home stretch there, you can see I do just weave out of the way. That's because I'm trying to avoid giving the Beetle any slipstream opportunity. And we'll just step back here on board with myself. So you can see here I really do rein him in. I'm well within the 8/10 magical slipstream range. Really pulling him in, really pulling it in. I go to dummy him here. This is where I send the fake. I'm going to go around the outside of him. I've never got intentions to do that. I'm never going to pull that move off. He goes to shut the door on me. I'm there on the inside, and I'm well and truly through. Again, respectful driving by the Beetle. He gives me the room to do the move. Tucks back in behind me. I think he knows by this point that I'm going to take the move and see it home. This is on board with him, this is his view. So he shuts the door, I go up the inside, and that's it, job done. Really happy with that move. Really happy with this race. Probably my best performance within overtaking so far on the channel. Things are going to get better. So that's just about it here from Maggiore in the Jag. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. a little bit of a different style of video. Thanks very much for watching. I hope to see you more around the channel. Thanks and goodbye.